golden rule for me in the books. There's the inside of it. And here's that pretty gold quartz that you saw earlier. Jim and I were walking up a very narrow wash between two steep canyons just to get to the next area to hunt. And he stopped and said, "Oh, I think I hear a really big meteorite." So he said, "Here, why don't you dig it?" So I got out my pick and didn't jump on the magnet. Well, that's because it was a piece of gold. So we kind of shared that, but he eventually gave it to me. So I now have that gorgeous piece at my house. And as they say, off into the sunset. So now I would like to show the video, about an 8-minute video. So Lynn, can you help me do that?
Sure, I can try. Now I feel pressure.
And this has sound to it, so I guess I'll just sit and watch it with you. It's from 2003 during the gem show. Somebody came to my backyard in Oro Valley and taped this.
We're privileged to be here today in Oro Valley, Arizona, just north of Tucson, with the original finders of the Gold Basin field. I first became interested in meteorites. I listened to Dr. David Crane from the University of Arizona Lunar Planetary Lab discuss meteorites at a gold club meeting which I was attending. It became quite apparent after listening to him that I may be able to hear meteorites with the metal detector that I was using to find gold. So I started paying attention to the hot rocks, rocks that we often found, threw away, but I started saving these rocks and looking at them a little longer. The first meteorite that I found was actually one I found down in Graterville when I was looking for gold that was identified by Robert. And upon cutting it and seeing the metal inside, I had some idea what to look for. So later on, John Blenner and I were up with a friend up in Gold Basin, Arizona, which is northwest of Kingman. I started saving the hot rocks. In cutting these Gold Basin and seeing two of them were potential meteorites, David Crane said, yes, they are, and we started wondering if there were two, if there were more. So John and I headed back up to the Gold Basin area and started looking again for gold and meteorites, and we kept finding a few, not too many, but as we moved in one direction, which was east of where we were, we started running into a lot of the meteorite rocks, and we learned to start recognizing those rocks.
We stumbled on the realization that people were complaining about the pesky hot rocks up there, and that was why the area was not so much favored for hunting nuggets. And as we started hunting around, we find a little group of potholes. It was kind of interesting to find all these meteorites stuck down in the holes or up on the lips, or we started finding that they dig them out of the holes and drop them into the nearby bushes. And it was kind of a little gold mine for Jim and I and Twink, finding these things in other people's detector digs. It was pretty cute.
After John and I went back and discovered, yes, there were more meteorites, Twink Monrad joined us. We started looking for the meteorites and trying to do what David Crane explained to us that he wanted us to do to try to map the possible potential truth field that existed from these Gold Basin meteorites. So we started keeping tracks of the location. We measured how deep we were finding them, and just in general, expanding the area, advancing the area until we had learned that this meteorite strewn field was over something like 15 miles long and 5 miles wide. And today we know it's bigger than that. It's a lot larger than that. But we will never determine just exactly what the boundaries are because of geological restraints.
After Jim and John ascertained that there was a Gold Basin meteorite field, I was invited to start going along with them and help map the field for the University of Arizona. Unfortunately, I was brand new at metal detecting. After I got fairly good at finding the Gold Basin meteorites, I was actually lucky enough to find two different meteorites in the strewn field. The first one was the Golden Rule, which was an L5, and then I discovered another meteorite, which was named Golden Mile, and it's an H4.
I'm going to look at some of my notes that I took and made when we were actually finding the meteorites. And I noticed on my 8th trip that I had found 129 pieces that totaled 6,430 grams. And then a few times later, I found 140 pieces. They totaled 3,369 grams. So as we expanded the field, we run into areas where the meteorites were obviously just scattered all over the given area, and we were finding a lot of the meteorites. Another one where I found 79 pieces, but they only weighed 2,224 grams. This tells you that they were varying in size. We could find some large ones that would add up the total weight, or we could find a lot of relatively small ones.
After the announcement of the strewn field, we had multiple hunts up there where got to meet a lot of different gold prospectors and meteorite hunters. Had to expand out, and I know I tried to maintain a map for Jim for all the finds I had when I was up there with all the different hunters. It was kind of interesting trying to weigh these things and get everybody to cough up locations, because some of these guys get pretty secretive about what they were finding and where they were finding it. But we continued to log them for quite a while and try to compile the map, which is what David wanted. Got to meet some really, really interesting people all over the place. As time went on, we continued to expand the field. I like to jump out a pretty good distance and just see if I could hang out a half mile or a mile or a quarter mile sometimes even more, just to see where these things were at. It was kind of fun. Every once in a while you hit a void and I come back thinking, man, that was the end of the field. But just press out a little farther and you get back into it again. It seemed like there were little hot spots and little voids and pretty much the whole thing. I get bored hanging in the same spot too long. I just kind of like the thrill of the hunt.
After a time, we realized that many of the Gold Basin meteorites were fragmented and could be pieced together as a puzzle. Here's an example of one of our probably 500-gram meteorites, which was found in 10 or 12 pieces, and we glued it together.
I just think back to the last few years, how lucky we've been to find this new meteorite strewn field, and as a result of all the people that we've met, and how nice it's been to become associated and meet so many people.
I sure think these things are butt ugly. After a while, the nuggets were getting in the way of my meteorite hunt.
Another aspect of this has been watching so many of our people we've met find their first meteorites. Each of us found our first meteorite there, and even the scientist at the U of A working with us found his first meteorite with us.
Okay, if you have any real questions, Larry Lebowski can probably answer them. If it's
I will
about
try my best.
technical part of meteorites or any other questions, let us know.
Yes.
Is there some type of a crater associated with them?
There is no crater.
Do you need that?
Yeah, might as well take. There is no crater there. The meteorite fell about 15,000 years ago, and it is assumed that there was basically an airburst. And what you get is like a long ellipse as it comes through the atmosphere. And the reason that the bigger things are found on the north side, farther north side